Have you ever caught yourself replaying a conversation that hasn't even happened yet? You're just walking or sitting quietly, and suddenly, in your mind, you're arguing with someone, explaining yourself perfectly, saying all the things you wish you could say in real life. Or maybe you imagine future situations, success, failure, love, rejection, over and over again. And sometimes it feels so real that your body reacts. Your heart beats faster. You feel nervous, excited, embarrassed, even though nothing is actually happening. Now, most people think this is just overthinking, but what if it's not? What if your brain is actually doing something very specific, something most people don't understand? Because people who constantly create scenarios in their head usually share a few rare psychological traits. And once you understand this, you'll stop seeing your mind as a problem and start seeing it as something powerful. We've all been told the same thing growing up. Don't think too much. Stop overthinking. Live in the present. So when we catch ourselves drifting into our thoughts, imagining situations that don't exist, we feel guilty. We think we're wasting time. We think something is wrong with us. But here's the truth. Your brain is not designed to just live in reality. It's designed to simulate reality. Think of your mind like a movie director. It creates scenes, conversations, outcomes, not randomly, but for a reason. It's trying to prepare you. It's trying to protect you. It's trying to understand what might happen next. Your brain is constantly asking one question: what if? What if this happens? What if that goes wrong? What if I say this instead? So it builds these mental simulations. Just like athletes imagine winning before a game, your mind is practicing life before it happens. But here's where it gets interesting. Not everyone does this the same way. Some people barely imagine anything, and others create entire worlds inside their head. If you're one of those people, it usually means your imagination is very active. You don't just think in words. You see things, you feel them, you build entire scenes in your mind like a movie. And this ability is actually very powerful. It's the same ability used by creative people, storytellers, innovators, people who can see possibilities before they exist. Because everything in the real world first existed in someone's imagination. But there's another side to it. A strong imagination doesn't only create good scenarios, it also creates negative ones. You don't just imagine success, you imagine failure too. You don't just imagine confidence, you imagine embarrassment. And sometimes the negative scenarios feel even more real. That's because your emotions are deeply connected to your thoughts. When you imagine something clearly enough, your brain reacts as if it's real. That's why your heart races during an imaginary argument. That's why you feel anxious about something that hasn't even happened yet. It means you're emotionally aware. You don't just think things, you feel them. And while this makes you more empathetic and connected to yourself, it also makes you more sensitive. Because now you're not just dealing with real-life emotions, you're also dealing with imagined ones. And this is where overthinking starts to appear. But here's something most people don't understand. There's a difference between overthinking and deep thinking. When you create scenarios, your brain is trying to analyze outcomes. It's asking, what will happen if I say this? How will they react? What could go wrong? This isn't useless thinking. It's your brain trying to understand situations before they happen. It's trying to prepare you. And in many ways, this makes you more aware than most people. You notice things others don't. You think ahead. You consider consequences. But when this process doesn't stop, it turns into a loop. You think, then analyze, then imagine, then repeat. And instead of helping you move forward, it keeps you stuck. And deep down, there's another reason your mind keeps doing this: control. Real life is unpredictable. You can't control what people say, how they react, or what happens next. But in your mind, you can control everything. You can replay conversations. You can change outcomes. You can say the perfect words. In your imagination, you're always prepared. You're always one step ahead. And that feels safe because uncertainty disappears inside your mind. So your brain keeps going back there, not because it's pointless, but because it gives you a sense of control that real life doesn't. And if you notice closely, most of your imagined scenarios are about the future, things that haven't happened yet, situations that might happen, conversations that could go wrong or right. Your brain is constantly trying to predict what's coming next. It wants to protect you from mistakes, from embarrassment, from failure, so it simulates different outcomes. But here's the problem. Your brain is naturally biased toward negative possibilities, because from a survival point of view, it's better to expect danger than ignore it. So your mind creates more negative what if something goes wrong scenarios than positive ones. And this is where imagination slowly turns into anxiety. You're no longer just imagining, you're worrying. And the more you stay in these mental scenarios, the more real they start to feel, until your energy is drained, even though nothing actually happened. You feel tired, not because of physical work, but because mentally you've already lived multiple versions of the same situation. Now here's the deeper truth. There's nothing wrong with your mind. In fact, your mind is doing exactly what it's designed to do. It's just doing it too much. Your imagination is strong. Your awareness is deep. Your emotions are active. Your brain is trying to protect you, prepare you, and keep you safe, but it doesn't know when to stop. So what started as a useful ability turns into mental noise. And that's why you feel stuck in your head sometimes. So what should you do? First, stop trying to completely eliminate these thoughts. You can't, and honestly, you shouldn't, because this ability is part of what makes you intelligent, creative, and aware. Instead, learn to guide it. The next time you catch yourself imagining a scenario, pause for a moment and ask yourself, is this helping me prepare, or is this just making me anxious? If it's helping you think clearly about something real, then use it. But if it's just repeating fear over and over again, then it's not useful anymore. Another thing you can do is limit the number of scenarios. Instead of thinking about every possible outcome, focus on one or two realistic ones. Your brain doesn't need 10 different versions of the same situation. And most importantly, take action, because action breaks the loop. Your mind creates scenarios because it doesn't have real answers yet. Once you act, reality replaces imagination. You get real feedback, and suddenly your brain doesn't need to guess anymore. So the next time you find yourself lost in your thoughts, imagining conversations that haven't happened, creating stories inside your head, don't immediately think something is wrong with you, because your mind is not weak, it's actually very powerful. You're thinking deeper than most people. You're feeling more than most people. You're imagining possibilities most people never even consider. You just haven't learned how to control it yet. And once you do, the same mind that creates stress can become your biggest strength. Because the people who can clearly imagine the future are often the ones who shape it. So maybe you're not overthinking. Maybe you're just becoming aware.